why Google Ads? Why run Google Ads? What's the point of running Google Ads? My Google Ads didn't work. This agency told me this, whatever it may be. This is this is probably the most common thing that I hear about people that essentially, had what agency they tested with, and they essentially went through the ringer. It was not a good agency, and now they think that Google Ads is terrible, or that digital marketing is, not worth it, or whatever. And so I want to make this channel to, number one, give business owners the ability to understand Google Ads on a macro perspective, because the whole point of having an agency is so they understand the micro. And I'll go into the micro as well. That's going to be kind of, mixed in with the macro. But I want to gear this towards mainly the owners of companies, because, well, obviously I want to grow my agency. But at the same time, I've just seen so many companies burned or issues that are just so obvious to us as marketers, but maybe not obvious to you as a business owner. So I'm going to go first into, I want to say, the most fundamental part of Google Ads. So if you have a Google Ads account and your conversion tracking is not set up, big, massive, gargantuan, crazy red flag. That is essentially, personally, I believe that's probably about 95% of the value of Google Ads. And so I'm going to explain that to you in this video. I'm going to go over what conversion tracking is, and I'm going to give you some metaphors to think about and kind of teach you guys what to look for in terms of, your account, and then obviously what is going to happen inside of, Google Ads if you don't use conversion tracking, and maybe some common issues that you might run into. So anyways, to kind of give an explanation of conversion tracking, think of it like this. So let's say that I have a lemonade stand and I'm on a street and there's people walking by. There's, let's just say hundreds of people walking by. It's like the early 1900s, and, people are out walking. So think of it like, okay, I have a lemonade stand. I sell one lemonade to someone. Let's say that it's like a dad, right? Let's say that it's an older dad. It's kind of like, in his 40s, 50s. He's been a dad for a little bit, but he's still kind of, he's in the middle of it all. So now in my mind, as a good marketer, I know, okay, this is potentially a demographic. Now, obviously you need a bigger test sample and all that, but just for explanation purposes, this is going to kind of get to my point. So in your head, you're like, okay, I know that a 40 to 50-year-old dad will buy my lemonade. How do I find more people like that? And so what conversion tracking does is it allows me to go into different areas of Google's ecosphere that allow me to reach that demographic that showed a good signal towards me. So I get that signal back, the ads in the algorithm track that signal, and then it goes and finds similar people to that. So it's like me essentially saying, okay, instead of being on on a street with hundreds of people walking by, now I'm going to maybe a softball game or a football game or whatever, and then I'm looking for, dads that are, essentially into sports, and they have kids and they're very, active. And so maybe they saw, me as like their kid on this, all these other factors that kind of led me to saying, okay, I'm going to go to that location. And that's essentially what the algorithm does. It takes the user and then it tries to find more of that user. And then it says, okay, I found more. Let me now go push your ad to that user with a similar habit. That alone is something so powerful inside of Google Ads that people do not, agencies, freelancers do not leverage it. And it's terrible. A common thing that used to do before when you ran ads is you just run manual CPC, you place on keyword bids, you go to placements, and then you just go from there. And that's essentially saying, okay, I'm going to go to the street, and then I'm going to fill up my glass just, 50%, because I want to get just enough to where I'm saving some costs, but based on the amount of people that are just flying by versus just going to, the softball or football game. So out of those hundreds of people walking by, I'm fighting through all the masses of people, because I know that I can make profit out of every 100 people that see this ad. This one person will purchase, and I'm trusting that to be the case. And I'm feeling my margins are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I'm trying to min-max them to essentially try to sell you that, lemonade per se, at the most affordable price for me. So it's like a cup half full or whatever. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to have the person that's using, for example, conversion tracking, which is that person that's going off to the softball games or football games, selling that full glass of water or full glass of lemonade, and everyone's happy. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so much better than the competition. It's so much value for what I get. I know it's just lemonade, but just, you understand my point." And so now they're building their brand up, and now they get into focusing on other things that we'll talk about in the future, like new customer acquisition, how to leverage, all that other stuff. And you're still stuck on, I'm just trying to skip by and try to get by on my profit margins because I'm not fully aware that there's this whole other system at play. And so you as a business owner, you as a marketer, whoever is watching this that is running Google Ads, or honestly anything at all, find a way to track it, feed the algorithm data if that's possible. And that's pretty much what I'm talking about here, conversion tracking. Feed the algorithm data so you can be that person that goes and finds more similar audiences that can then provide a better service because your profit margins are higher because you're able to find people a lot easier. There's different degrees as to, like I said, where I've seen this happen. I normally see this happen for like consulting, for example. Like some companies, when they go into consulting, they're outdated because they're just doing consulting for so long and they're not in ads themselves. And so things change drastically like every 6 months. And it's becoming quicker and quicker. And so all the information that you're getting from a lot of these people that are consulting that are not actually running ads is outdated information. So you're getting geared with like tactics that it's just you're behind the finish or behind the start line even. Marketers nowadays, I mean, every single agency that I know of that's getting semi-good results to really good results is using conversion tracking. I haven't seen one account aside from like on branded campaigns that's not using conversion tracking. It just doesn't make sense unless you're like that 5%, which, when I said earlier, 95% of Google Ads is essentially conversion tracking. If you're in like that 5% range where you're just trying to throw out content because you're a large brand, then there's a scenario where you might want to go for something more, top of funnel that's not as conversion tracking focused. But I just haven't seen that be the case for any companies that I've worked with, like ever. Because you still get benefits from having conversion tracking in your account. You maybe just don't optimize for it if you want to do top of funnel. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video, like I said, to put this information out there. I do free audits on accounts. So if you have an account and you're like, hey, I want an audit, and you message me just to prove that I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not just some random, YouTuber that is going to try to, say, oh, this, use this secret tactic and this could be the best thing you'll ever use. I will literally, if you give me like 2 minutes notice, hell, we can even pull it up in the meeting. I will literally go through your account on the spot. I have not seen the account. I don't know your business at all. I'll decode everything for you so you see me and how I think through it. So I'm not prepared with like a little sheet like, some people are, where they're just, okay, we're going to go over this, and it's all just an algorithm pumps it out. And then it hopes that, it sounds good enough for you to trust them. And then you then get sold by all these people. I want to be as transparent as possible. So I'm making that pledge that if you want me to review your Google Ads account, I will do it on the spot. I just need access on View, and I will literally do a free audit for you. You don't have to feel pressured at all to come back. You can literally just say, hey, Kaden, what do you think is going on in the account? We can hop on a 15 to 30-minute call and just go through the account, and I can do that all on the spot. And I'm literally so confident because I've seen this happen so many times in accounts. There's always like the same, I want to say like 3 patterns that occur, and you just get so used to figuring out what the signals are that you can do it quick, and it just gets updated. Because when you're in accounts more and more, whenever Google does a change every 6 months, it's just a new essentially a new pattern to find. And I like that. I don't know, I love patterns. I love understanding like what's going on in terms of like the marketing as a whole. I love macro marketing so much. And so that's also why I'm going to be creating another type of video that's not just me in like this white background with, this makeshift, whatever it's called, sound blocking, or I forget the word for it. You know what I'm talking about. And so I'm going to create another video type that's going to be more geared towards like I'll be on a motorcycle and I'll literally just be going around going to be looking at businesses, and you guys can just listen to information, free information about marketing, free information about thoughts on stuff in terms of macro marketing that you can apply, that even if you don't run Google ads, you just have a business that isn't running it, or that didn't see value in it, or that is already successful without it, doesn't want to grow. Leverage that in another way to make your process more efficient. I don't care. I want people to understand that Google ads is not as simple as it was before, but it's not as hard as it was before, I guess, per se. Like, if you have the right setup, if you have the right strategy in play, you can gear the algorithm in a direction that will go beyond just Google ads and allow you to leverage other parts of your marketing funnel as a whole that a lot of people weren't really doing before. And that what a lot of the large, top 500 to, like the Fortune 500 companies, all the publicly traded companies. I mean, any business that has scaled to a large degree has used these next things that I'm going to go into in this next video. So, like I said, stay tuned. I'm going to be pumping out content as much as possible. I work from home, so I'm talking like, I'm in the ads all the time. I'll shoot videos like this for you guys, and then I'll just kind of, keep cranking this out. And yeah, feel free to comment any questions. If you want to check out my website also for that free audit I was mentioning, click the link below, and yeah, hope to see you guys there.